Hey, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Tasha, and today we're going to be talking about supplemental reading. What does that look like? How do we budget it? Do we need it? I'm going to be answering all those questions, so let's get started. All right, so I've been talking with you mamas and dads in my emails, in my comments, or even in my Instagram DMs, and a lot of the questions have been about the supplemental reading. So if you're like my family, we have at least 3 of the subjects this year that are that have a lot of supplemental reading. And if you don't know what supplemental reading is, it is a gap filler. Is probably the best short answer. A gap filler for your week. To give you an example, say your child is learning about the word brave, and you guys talk about it, you have your lesson for the day, and you're super excited, but then you're like, okay, so how do I keep this going? How do I keep this conversation happening with my child for the rest of the week about bravery? How do I tie it into everything? That's what supplemental reading does for you. It allows your child to connect in other stories and through more reading aloud with you, through other characters, to understand what brave is. And so, is it mandatory? No. But it's encouraged. And so I encourage it. I love books. My family loves books. Me and my husband's dream one day is to literally have a designated school library, homeschool library, that's from floor to ceiling of just books. And with the ladder that you have to use to get across it, all the things. That is a dream of ours. But until then, I have books everywhere, but I also know that I buy those I buy them in chunks of time. And so I don't just have them all at once. And so I wanted to share using one of Zoe's curriculums that we're going to be using in the fall from my dear friend, Crystal Wiley from the Simple Studies. I talked about this. I did a whole flip through. This is the Learning the North American Animals with Thornton Burgess. And it is a Charlotte Mason style learning. And so when you're flipping through the introduction, you eventually get to this page. And that's the picture book list by lesson, and that is 40 weeks, 40 lessons, if you will, of books. Now, if you are new to homeschooling and you're like, all right, I got my curriculum, I got my classroom, I got everything set, and then you see this list, you're like, oh my goodness, I have to buy a Barnes and Noble. You don't. One thing I love here, there's a helpful tip that she wrote in here that says, I recommend gathering the picture books from the library for the first 8 lessons the week before you begin lesson 1. And I love that because it gives you kind of a framework of where you should be planning, trying to plan within the 2 months ahead. But I'm going to take it a step further. For a single income family home like myself, with 2 kids who are avid readers and very engaged and enjoying homeschooling to the fullest, truly, even that can be a stretch for us. So what I try to do, and especially if I'm doing it for multiple subjects, so you have to see, like, we have like 5 subjects, but out of the 5, I have 3 that we're having this implemented, right? So I'm like, 2 months is a little bit, if I try to do that for every, subject. So what I do is I bring it down to 4 weeks. And what I do is I'll write my budget, I'll write the books I need for the lessons that I'm going to be covering, and I say, okay, I'm going to designate for that. And so I've been preparing since March, truly because this has already been a part of our life. This is our 2nd year of homeschooling. But if you're new to this, you're more like, okay, I didn't have a lot of time. I kind of made this decision last week, or I made the decision last month. That's okay. Take the time, look at your lessons, and decide even here. So there is, let's see, 1, 2, I think there's like 3 books here, right? For just lesson 1. If that is too much for you and you're like, I would love to do this and I don't have any of these books here, maybe I'll just get 1. I'll have 1 to add to it. That's possible. You can do that. Make it work for you, not you working for it. Like, I really want to encourage that. Like, for us, I have to, like I said, budget it out. I'm going to do this. So what I do is July has really felt like, or probably the last 3 months in our home, has almost felt like Christmas because packages keep showing up, but they're truly just books. A lot of them are books, which are gifts to us. But we're truly just been preparing and putting aside, and then I'm designating it so that when I go into planning and I go and say, okay, these are the lessons, it gives me time to read the books, gives me time to like make notes if I say, okay, I really want to have some question or discussion time with Zoe on these certain books and what we're covering on this word in this lesson. So it gives you some planning time. If you are doing more of an unschooling method and you're like, I don't want them to feel overwhelmed, you can also just have those books in baskets or placed around your home so your child feels engaged to pick it up and read it on their own and say, hey mom, I remember, or hey dad, I remember us talking about this particular word and I just heard about this story. That's what happens when there's supplemental reading, and it's amazing when you start to see your child, the connection starting to happen from what you're teaching them and what they're doing even in their independent time. So like I said, here she gives this, and I love it because it helps you already have a framework of what you need. You don't have to go through each lesson and say, okay, I need to pick up this book. It's already here. You can make your checkoffs, but you are not mandated to do it. It helps. It's a resource, and it carries you through the week. So I hope that was encouraging to you guys. Like I said, don't stress out. Breathe. You got this. Take your time, build it for how it works for you. And if it's one book or it's all 3 books, or if it's all the lessons and you're able to just do it all at once. I also want to encourage you to check out your local bookstores. Check out Amazon, true enough. It's easy to use Amazon, Barnes & Noble, whatever is close to you. But if you have like those small mom and pop shops, or like here in Texas, we have Half Price Books, and we love that place because it is a reused system, but it allows me to be able to get a lot more books at a cheaper rate than for me to go and buy it brand new, and it's still in really good condition. So we've done that with a lot of our reading. We've also gone to like little mom pop and shops, and I'll keep a note of like, oh, I'm still looking for this book, and so if I see it there, I get to get it. And then yeah, you always can check out your online options as well if you're staying in home, but utilize the time to kind of give yourself a game plan to say, hey, I need to get these books for this lesson in this particular time. But if I don't, and I say, okay, maybe for this lesson, we're just going to stick to the book, that's okay too. So I hope this video encouraged you, inspired you to go out there, do the supplemental reading, but make it work for you. If you like this, please give this video a thumbs up. Hit those comments below if you have any questions, or if you want to share your methods of how you do it. I'd love to hear it. I'd love to engage with you. And until the next time, I'll see you on the next video. Bye. You okay?
Yeah. You can go see the butterflies that start with the man.
The butterflies that start, the monarch butterfly?
Uh-huh.
We got to remember